Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to the show. Jack Chow is my name. East West is the show. G&E TV is the organization under the flag of EDI. I'm so honored to be a proud member of the great team that provides me a job, which is not a job. It's an opportunity or classroom sometimes to sit here to listen to from all directions to get face-to-face, chance of face-to-face, to all kinds of VIPs. Speaking of VIP, right now in front of me is one of them, my good friend, a kind of an icon person, my idol of West Covina, Mr. Joe Gardner, and candidate for the council member of beautiful city, West Covina. So to council member Gardner, welcome to the show. May I announce that?
Thank you, Jack. Yes, you
I'm
can. I feel confident.
Oh, council member to come.
Yes, right. I'm honored to be here as well. And happy Lunar New Year.
The reason I want to hold this show to my audiences is that it is always my philosophy. At the time of election, you are really talking about choosing the right man for the right job.
Right.
And as reference you hold on to in evaluation about the person though, you always look back into about his background, about what he has done, and then you listen to him about his concept. And then after all is cleared and you hear about his plan. Okay, say, namely, what do you plan to do if you took office about your city? I know West Covina is doing okay, but still there are better jobs to do, right? There is improvement, rumors of improvement, right? So now, Joe, I know that we did quite a few times over the other issues whereby I got a chance to touch your background a little bit.
Yes.
But this show, specifically for the purpose of campaign though, I would like my audience to hear one more time or over again about your rich background, please.
Well, thank you, Jack.
Yeah. Starting from where you are from.
Sure.
And the day you were born.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, come on.
That's going to be a long story.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, okay.
Well, I was born in East LA, here in Los Angeles County, and I lived in the South Bay for quite a while, and obviously grew up in California, native Californian. Eventually moved to this area, West Covina, and during that time I was employed as a police officer for the city of Santa Monica. I worked there for 27 years, and in the last 6 years
27 glorious years.
Yes, it was a very, very interesting, very good time. And 6 of those last years of my career I spent as a sergeant. So I supervised, a homeless detail as well as a gang and youth intervention programs in the city, and I was kind of at the forefront of tackling some of the big city issues that face the city of Santa Monica, and I think we did a good job there. So,
drug issues, youth issues, and poverty issues, straight hair issues, right? Even issues like Kelly Thomas. You recall Kelly Thomas?
Yes, I do.
Once we talked about it, right? About
very
him,
tragic case.
Yeah, very tragic case, right? So now, my audiences, we are now talking about a person who has put his life in the line for 27 years, gloriously, and he is Sergeant Gardner. And he is still, respectively, still the same position. And he will be the council member, Gardner, that we wish that if you cast your vote on him, though, and he will, of course. Right? Talking about knowing this much of law enforcement, I still recall last time when we laid down all the issues, do a comparison, though, we came to a point that public safety is the core issue, at least when you're talking about if you want to live peacefully.
Right.
Am I right?
That's
Could we address that issue, please?
Yes, like for example, in the city of West Covina, you have 106,000 people in our city. It's ever growing, and that's good. That is an indication of some prosperity. People like to come to West Covina in the East San Gabriel Valley. But what I've noticed over the last several years is that the city has dwindling resources to some extent. And due to attrition, the police department has gone down to about 155 officers. And, you know, I'm concerned that, you know, that continual trend of not filling the retirements, attrition that takes place, people leave the department, you know, that it's going to cause an impact to public safety. It's going to make our cities, our streets less safe. You know, there are some issues of concern, like in the neighboring communities, gangs. So I kind of am concerned about that.
And I'm very glad that Mr. Gardner put up this issue on top of the issues, because we're facing a different time. When I say different time, I mean that number one is a bad economy, which they say we're getting out. We do not know if we are or not. Number two, it's a beautiful city that draws lots of attention of people to come live here, to buy houses here, to choose it as their resident place, right? And number three, there are young people, the population of young people growing in the city due to the proportion increase, right? And then number four, which is exactly a huge problem with the jail alignment programs. You see lots of criminals who deserve to stay there forever gets released. Oh, by the way, I heard a case. The guy did two killings after he was released for his previous two.
Oh, which case? Because there was a couple of cases.
Yeah, I overheard over the radio yesterday when I was driving on the freeway. Though I caught the tail part of it. Says that he committed two more killings.
Oh God.
After he was released for his enjoyment for his previous two killings.
Wow.
So now, how beautiful this jail alignment program is, you can probably get a taste.
Yeah, AB 109 has really caused a significant negative impact to our state.
Very negative.
And Prop 47 as well, you know, decriminalizing
certain...
Yeah,
Prop 7 is lower. I mean, bring the threshold up higher.
Right.
In other words, if I punch you on the shoulder, I can be okay, instead of punching you on the nose.
Right.
But it is a punch.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm very concerned, just as you are, that our decline in public safety is really going to cause a lot of problems. And at the core is justice, right? We all expect justice for if somebody commits a crime, they should take responsibility for it.
And also, you just mentioned about only the police department has only the number of police officers has come down to a little over 150 something?
155, I think.
155 versus a total population of
106,000 people.
106,000 people. You're talking about 800 per, right? On average, right? 800 per on average.
We should be around at least 200 officers.
I see.
We're probably down about 30
around, let's say, 50 per. Yeah. 50 residents per officer, like that kind, right?
Yes.
So I know West Covina is not a high-risk city. It's not a city that is most of the time picked as the unsafe city. But to get to a better city, though, you really have to enhance your law enforcement.
Right.
So for that said, what's your plan once you took office to do your job? You think you can influence your colleagues to put what the emphasis is supposed to be?
I think the greatest challenge the city faces is revenue. Revenue to fund the police department and the fire department. We also have to remember that public safety as a whole could probably use some improvement in the city of West Covina. And the real issue is that you're right, the economy is building, but it's only building in a certain sector, and that's usually the service or retail sector.
At least it hasn't gone to the part that you and I can benefit from.
Right. The long-term career jobs that will sustain a family for a lifetime, and send a child to school. So that's the unfortunate thing, and the city's, has to make some decisions. It has to decide which direction it wants to go to get more revenue so that they can fund these essential services. So I think we're kind of at a crossroads. We have to decide if we want more revenue from housing, building more houses, or do we want to increase revenue by bringing maybe manufacturing or industrial?
I mean, I'm talking about the public safety issue. Right. If you took office, what do you want to do to your police department?
Well, look for that funding that's going to bring improve public safety.
I see.
That's the core issue.
In other words, you're going to do more recruitment.
Yes. Yeah. I think the top thing we have to do is improve public safety, but in order to do that, you have to have funding to do that. So I think more recruitment, getting qualified candidates, and also providing the funding that will allow those officers to go through the process, those candidates, so that they become full-time officers.
Within the same category, though, we're facing another subject. As you and I were on the show talking about it already several times about the policing culture. Right? Okay. Now, obviously, you have two jobs to do. One is the law enforcement body to make it strong enough to make it at least make the number count. And on the other, though, overall across the nation, there is huge talk about the policing culture, right? And that part, I believe that you have another job to do.